The name of the program is The Way to Go. We invite you to join me each week at this time as we explore places to go and things to do. Today we're embarking on a new season, so to speak, for the Hudson River Museum in Yonkers. We are going to find out what they have in store in their fall program. And my guest today, I am welcoming back the director of the Hudson River Museum, Philip Verre. And we'll find out all about what's happening and all the exciting things. Philip, I'm glad you came here today.
Thank you. Appreciate
it. In developing a new program, a new fall program, September and October, what do you look for? Do you look for things that are provocative, that are innovative? Do you have to be different in deciding what your exhibit's going to be?
Well, I think we all strive to be all of that evocative and innovative and different, but basically we look at our mission, which is primarily to explore topics of 19th and 20th century American art and history. We look at what our strengths are, landscape painting, for example. We look at what we've heard from our audiences as far as evaluation, what they liked, what they didn't like, what clicked, what did not click, and we do a lot of in-house discussion and review of programs, and hopefully that type of information combined with our mission and what's available as far as artwork or traveling shows sort of shapes not only the exhibitions but also all the complementary programs which surround an exhibit.
Now you say that you listen to what the people want. You plan pretty far in advance, don't you?
Yeah, we generally have shows already on the books for 1995, 1996. It just takes that long to organize a show or reserve a traveling show which might be offered by another institution.
Is your audience changing?
I'm not sure if it's changing. It's growing, thank God. We've had, once again, another successful season, but I think this is probably, the last couple of years has been the first time that we've seriously tracked our audience and tried to identify it and also try to match what their needs are as far as cultural services are concerned. So I think still primarily our two main audiences are the school groups, which come in tens of thousands each year, then followed by the family groups, which are actually an impressively growing number.
And you don't think of yourself as a Yonkers museum, even though you are in Yonkers. You have a broader feeling of where your appeal is and who your audiences are.
We feel very strongly that we are committed to the entire county of Westchester, as well as even a broader regional reach, but we do make sure that what we do is announced to the entire county, and we make all sorts of connections throughout the county to get people, groups here at the museum.
Now let's be specific. What's in store in the fall at the Hudson River Museum?
Well, coming October 1st, we're going to be opening up 4 new exciting shows, and we'll be continuing another show which was open this summer. Our primary exhibits for the fall are going to include a wonderful show called The Crayon in the American Landscape, which is a show on 19th century landscape painting organized by the Montclair Museum of Art. That's going to be installed in our mansions. In our main galleries, we're having a show which was organized by the National Museum of American Art entitled Between Home and Heaven, Contemporary American Landscape Photography.
So both are landscape, but from different perspectives.
Different perspective, different centuries, different mediums. And what's exciting is that the fact that our curatorial and education departments have been working together and are creating actually what are we calling a bridge orientation exhibit, which will pull works from both of those shows and combine them in yet a third show to take a look at how artists from one century or another approach the topic of landscape, how they approach the different mediums of painting and photography, etc.
I don't understand what you mean when you say a bridge. Actually, you're going to have...
Metaphor for how do we, again, being a museum of 19th and 20th century American art, how do we make connections between those two centuries instead of simply mounting two separate exhibits? Let's build a bridge, metaphorically, to explore both of those, plus explore both of them together.
Well, those people who are familiar with the museum know that you have various exhibit spaces. Where physically are each of them going to be?
Well, the Crayon show, which is the 19th century show, will be in the Glenview Mansion, and the Between Home and Heaven, the contemporary photography show, will be in our lower main, in our newer wing.
And there's another exhibit that brings them together. Is it?
Yes, the bridge exhibit, which will be in the new wing, the upper main gallery.
Oh,
so
so
as you
more-
come into the museum, that will be our introductory exhibit.
Introducing to everything actually
Exactly.
there, and then moving into one the other.
Mm-hmm.
I like the title, the crayon, but they're not crayon.
No, that's sort of misleading. And
Yeah, we do have the cover of the brochure here. And
Got a lot of phone calls from families already thinking of the crayon in the contemporary sense, but actually the crayon, and that does refer to an art periodical, American periodical from the mid 19th century, but the crayon refers to the actual instrument of sketching or drawing a crayon, also the act of drawing or sketching, as well as the final product of a sketch. So it pretty much refers to the instrument, the act, and product of sketching.
And some of the artists that are included in this exhibit are pretty darn famous, aren't
Yeah,
they?
well, it's sort of, we have the leaders of 19th century American landscape. Here's a wonderful example, an early Thomas Cole from 1835 view of the Hudson River, and a wonderful example of the probably the primacy of landscape painting as far as American culture was at that time, and the crayon, being primarily a periodical of philosophy and theory, espoused landscape painting as the truly unique American expression.
Are they all black and white, or they're color?
No, they're color. The sketches are primarily black charcoal crayon, but there's some wonderful, colorful paintings included in the exhibit. We have about 44 paintings and drawings and prints and all.
Yeah, here's another example.
Sure.
It's just also very colorful.
Absolutely beautiful. George Innes from about 1888, and as a sort of a wonderful closing chapter of the show. This show, if you compare this to the Cole from 35, this shows how American landscape had evolved from one which truly espoused specific depiction and rendering of a scene to something which is much more interpretive and subjective, coming through the artist as opposed to simply an external depiction of a scene.
Now, of course, there was a great school of landscape painting right here in the Hudson Valley. But all of these are not necessarily Hudson Valley.
No. There's some of the images are of the river and the valley, but primarily it's of a northeast phenomenon as far as the contents of the show.
You mentioned the fact because of the setting where you are. Certainly, when you look out that huge window across the Hudson and into the Palisades, there's a landscape, a natural landscape painting, live one right there that always exists.
Sure, I always consider that our major competitor. No matter what we have on the gallery walls, people are always drawn toward that view of the river and the Palisades beyond. But it also makes sense. That is in our identity. That is our location, and something like the crayon show is most appropriate because of those two factors.
I'm sure there are people who are watching this who are not familiar with the museum, and it's two parts, three parts actually, if you consider the courtyard.
Sure.
So why don't we talk a little bit about what they are? We start with the mansion,
Sure,
the Glenview
the
Mansion.
Glenview Mansion, which was built in 1876 as a residence for a well-to-do stockbroker, John Bontrevor, was purchased by the city of Yonkers in 1924 for the museum's permanent home. That is still open to the public through a series of period rooms and gallery spaces. We also have the newer wing, which was built in 1969, which accommodates our large exhibition space, as well as our state-of-the-art Andres Planetarium, and other public amenities like a gift shop, auditorium, restaurant, etc. And sort of the mansion is enclosed by this new wing, creating a wonderful courtyard space, which is used for all sorts of fair weather activities.
Now, one of the things that I personally feel and that I've read is, despite the fact that you put the old traditional building and the very modern new wing side by side, they work well together. And that's very unusual today where, take for example the Jewish Museum in New York, where they built this modern structure and finally just this year destroyed it, took it down, and continued the old mansion front as part of the building because it didn't work. It didn't work as far as I was concerned. It may have been fine architecturally, but it didn't work. And yet you have the juxtaposition of a modern building and an old building, and they work well together.
I think it works well, partly because of the fact that the newer building is such an inside-outside building, and by that I mean because of so many windows and open spaces, you really do have a sense of being outdoors a lot of the time and sharing the river the Palisades, the openness of Trevor Park, as well as being able to see the mansion from different perspectives. It's a challenge, and sometimes we have to work hard as far as creating a sense of 19th century for those people who do want to visit the mansion. But as far as sort of a context and working together, the two buildings have really fit our needs.
But the mansion exists, certainly the exterior, and inside you've made use of the rooms in a way that you can see it as it was, with the magnificent hall and the staircase, which you use as exhibit space.
Exactly.
And yet you have exhibit rooms right in there. And all that works together. It's a combined unit. Now, in the mansion now, in the fall season, what do we have?
Well, in addition to the crayon show and our permanently installed period rooms, we have a show which was installed earlier this summer on the Columbian Exposition.
Which I've now seen twice, and
Good
I'm
for you.
going back again.
Wonder of the World, 1893, and it's primarily a centennial celebration of the fair, which opened in Chicago in July of 1893, and has proven to be very popular because of so much publicity surrounding the fair and its centennial. But it's a wonderful collection which deals with the whole concept of the fair, how it was developed, how Chicago was chosen as the site, the type of exhibitions which took place there, who exhibited there, who built the buildings, who were the visitors, and it's really a wonderful, almost potpourri of experiences regarding the fair.
That's as far as I'm concerned, in museum going, there are two types of exhibits. There's the exhibit that you can walk through and enjoy. You can just gather from it the feeling. And then there's the exhibit that you want to go back to read and read and read and see the details and climb inside it, actually. I think that Columbian exhibit deserves that. There's so much detail, there's so much information in there. And what else is happening in the mansion?
Well, that's pretty much it with our crayon show, our Columbian Exposition, and of course we have our 4 period rooms, which are pretty much recreations of what life was like for a well-to-do upper-class gentleman and his family from the late Victorian period. So we have a sitting room, a library, a dining room, and the Great Hall. So the mansion is full of art and artifacts this coming fall.
And now let's go on to your other exhibit, your other main exhibit.
Our other main exhibit, indoors at least, is something entitled Between Home and Heaven, Contemporary American Landscape Photography. And this is a rather large show of about 135 photographs of contemporary American landscape and how photographers of our time portray the landscape. So again, a nice tie-in into the crayon show. How do we look at landscape? How has the landscape changed over a 135-year period, and how has our view of landscape changed over that time as well?
And who's represented in there?
Oh, we have over 35 artists, well-known artists from throughout the United States. This is a national show in scope, and they're all drawn from the collection of the National Museum of American Art. And as far as what is covered, are all regions of the United States, from the most beautiful, almost romantic type of subject matter to more urban imagery, and also a lot of disquieting imagery. And obviously that has to do with sort of the intersection of man and the environment when it comes to the abuse of the environment.
I looked through it and kind of picking out, I must say, some of the more colorful photographs in there.
Well, you're looking at beautiful Len Gensel, and in the background we sort of have this very traditional Western landscape vista at sunset, but then we have this very, very eerie, almost unnatural light in the foreground, and then of course we have these 2 construction cones right in the middle. And again, we're talking about almost the butting heads there between man and the environment, and the balance, but primarily the imbalance between man and the development of the environment.
Now, is this exhibit larger than the overall exhibit, larger, and you only have a portion of it, or do you have the whole exhibit?
No, we have the whole exhibit, and we'll take up all of our 6,000 square feet of main exhibition space in the new wing. And there are some rather large works in the show, in fact, the cover piece by Gus Foster,
which we just looked at,
it's quite a very large panorama.
I'm just looking to see as we go through this, some of the ones. Is there a different appeal and different photography for different people?
Sure. I think some people look at photographs simply because they're accurate renditions or depictions of something. Other people look for a more interpretive type of photography. Other people look at the technical possibilities photography offers as far as different formats, different angles, different types of exposures. Some people in this show use the use the photograph simply as a starting point, and then we'll apply oils or pastels to it, or collage it, etc.
I suppose we see in a photograph what we see in it. I have to admit that I'm picking these primarily because of the color. There's so many black and white photos that are also included in this exhibit. How about, do you get photographers who come into this type of exhibit? Is this a learning experience as well?
I think it's a learning experience and a sharing point for the community of photographers. No doubt about it. A lot of this photography is not well known in this part of the country, so I think it will be a natural magnet for those people who are practicing photographers, as well as, once again, getting back to that idea of landscape. People who are interested in the landscape as well as the history of landscape should be attracted by this exhibit.
And you're bringing them together in the upper exhibits?
Main, right. We're going to select a few pieces from each show and probably have just a pairing, a 19th century painting and a contemporary photograph, and we'll look at different aspects. How has one's interpretation of landscape changed over the last 100 years? How has style changed? How has the choice of medium and the manipulation of medium changed over that period of time as well? Just to give people a sense, again, that landscape and landscape portrayal, landscape artist, perhaps is all this landscape, and its interpretation and depiction has evolved over the years.
You're also doing some educational programs, lecture programs that tie in with all of this, and
well, the interpretive programs for the landscape shows will be the main thrust for our school programs, which will start on October 1st, as well as for our Sunday family programs, which take place every Sunday at 1:30. We'll have a series of self-guided tours or workshops involving photographers and landscape artists who paint any type of approach which investigates landscape.
Let's talk about those Sunday family programs. Is that every Sunday?
Every Sunday we offer a program at 1:30, and this year we're fortunate, courtesy of Citibank, we have funding for it, so we're going to offer a variety of workshops which deal with all the exhibits as well as our planetarium show. So, for example, on one Sunday you'll be working with a photographer in the gallery, creating your own photo landscape. On another Sunday, perhaps you'll be making a telescope with one of our planetarium staff. On another Sunday, you'll be walking through Glenview Mansion on a guided tour given by perhaps an artist or an educator. So we'd like to use the entire programmatic offerings of the museum and offer a lot of variety as well.
So when you say family, you're really saying children?
Children and parents. No, parents. We endorse the idea of intergeneration activity, so we do want to get both the parents and the kids involved. We don't want the parents to sit and have a cup of coffee while the kids are in the workshop. We actually want both parent and child to get involved.
My experience at the museum is I do see a lot of youngsters coming with their parents, and so obviously what you're doing is built in that direction.
Exactly.
And we haven't touched about the sculpture in the courtyard.
This is actually a very exciting addition to our fall lineup. The museum has commissioned the well-known sculptor Jackie Ferreira to build a piece in the museum's courtyard. And Jackie is an artist with an international reputation, primarily more recently for her public commissions, and she's designing what is called the Hudson River Passage, which is about a 40-foot-long passageway made out of cedar, and it's being built as we speak. And is about 7 feet wide and about 10 feet high, and it's situated in the courtyard with open windows, so we'll be encouraging people to walk through it, taking a look at the mansion, taking a look at the river, taking a look at the new building from within this architectural sculpture.
Walk-through sculpture is not strange to the Hudson River Museum, because certainly you've got Red Grooms in the gift shop, and he specializes in walk-through. I interviewed him not too long ago down at the Grand Central Terminal, and he did say on that program that he is planning to build a park where people can, entertainment park, where people can actually walk through his sculptures in North Carolina, I believe it is.
So the Groom's Gift Shop has been such an attraction for the museum since the mid-'70s. So many people come to the museum because of that. But you're right, it creates its own environment. Sometimes an environment which is otherworldly. In the case of Red Grooms, though, it's entertaining, it's alive. And in the case of Jackie Ferreira, it's probably a little more subdued, but also revealing as well.
What's going to happen with the Jackie Ferreira exhibit after it?
Well, it's taken apart, and we have probably about 10,000 linear feet of cedar to do something with. But actually, the installation itself will be accompanied by a smaller exhibit in our photo gallery, showing working drawings for the piece as well as some of her smaller models, which are exquisitely fabricated by the artist. So I'm very excited about this edition.
It's certainly an innovation for you to be doing something like that. You do use the courtyard because you've had jazz there during the summer, and so the seasons all bring changes. What changes are the seasons bringing at the planetarium?
Well, we'll be introducing some new shows later in the season, but as the seasons themselves change, our seasonal night sky show will change. Right now we're doing What's Up in the Sky during the summer months. Come October 1, we'll change to the fall night sky. We'll be introducing new shows on gravity and the black hole later in December and January. But what we'll be offering is, at least on Friday nights, again, thanks to Texaco and Texaco Star Night, a rotating schedule of some of our more popular exhibits. Our more popular star shows. On every Friday through the month, there'll be a different show. Some will deal with space travel. Some will deal with children's imagination as far as the stars are concerned. Our Dinosaur Dreams, which was a very popular show this past summer, will be part of the Texaco rotation.
What about that exhibit space around the planetarium? I don't know what you call that area.
That's the Troster Hall of Science, and generally we have long-term exhibits which deal with different aspects of astronomy or science and technology. We just took down a show on optical illusions, and starting December 1st, we're going to open a wonderful participatory exhibit called The Metric Cafe. As you may know, come January 1, 1994 is the official starting point where the United States has to use everything in the metric system.
Will it happen?
Well, they've been giving us 10 years to get used to it. Your guess is as good as mine, but what we're going to do is to have a show which was primarily geared toward children and families to discuss different aspects of the metric system, how some of those measurements have also come into existence and we readily accept them, like the 2-liter soda bottle, for example, but also some of those other more arcane metric references which haven't been used yet.
Soda bottles and an occasional highway sign is about as far as I've seen it
That's
go.
it. So, but we have a long way to go, though. But this will be a fun, hands-on, and hopefully easily digestible type of exhibit.
It's a tough nut to crack. Of course, we're out of step with almost the entire world on that.
Exactly. So, and the other world is getting impatient with us on that front. But that's the type of show we'll have in the Troster Hall of Science. Primarily, there'll be hands-on participatory types of exhibits exploring science and technology.
You seem to, in everything that you do, to appeal. We talked about families. We talked about briefly about the fact that you have school programs, a strong appeal to children. Seniors, do you have programs for seniors?
We have our Seniors in the Arts program, which meets just about every Wednesday. And again, a different aspect of the museum is explored every Wednesday, be it in the planetarium or a concert in the mansion or a guided tour in the lower main gallery.
And it's not just exhibits. What is it as a director of a major museum, a major regional museum, as opposed to a local museum? What is it, the reaching out, audience? We talked about audiences changing. We talked about children. You talk about your mission, and a mission is an interesting term that I hear often from people. I suppose you have to have a mission. How do you keep in touch? You say you do studies, you talk to people. Where does it all lead?
Well, I think how do we keep in touch? It's truly by being responsive and sensitive to what we hear out there. I think it would be arrogant for us not to do otherwise. We need to know what the community needs are in order for us to be a viable and vital cultural provider. We do that formally through something like an audience survey, meeting with different organizations, both within the city of Yonkers and throughout Westchester County, forming focus groups where we'll invite people to come in and not only review the plans for exhibit, but also an actual exhibit itself.
Another way is to get people to call to get more information. We should give the telephone number that people should call for information. What is that number?
914-963-4550.
And we'll put that number on the screen afterwards so people could call to find out about programs and schedules and to give their opinion and anything else that they want to do about it. Well, I think it's been great of you to come here and open up the new season of the Hudson River Museum with us and tell us all that's going to be happening there. And I really want to wish you a lot of luck.
Thank you, Norm. You've been
the
very
fall and in all the seasons to come.
Thank you. It's always a great opportunity to come here, and I really do appreciate your support. I know you are a regular visitor.
And a member.
And a member.
My guest today has been Philip Berry, who is the director of the Hudson River Museum, which is located in Yonkers, but has great appeal for people in all areas where this program is seen. I strongly urge you to go and visit it. I'm Norman Liss. The name of the program is The Way to Go. And until next week at this time, enjoy yourself.